Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped TV show is brought to you in part by Corker Boots, Fishing X Rod, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste, Hoffman Lures, Fish Donkey, the future of tournament fishing, Kaz Acres, Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, J. Robinson Outdoors, Bennington Self Storage, Okuma Fishing, let's get inspired, P-Line, White Rocks Design Studio at Turcotte Design, Porta-Brace, and a proud member of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce.
Hey, welcome back. You know, I have a question for you. As we're walking and having a good time talking and watching a dog, you know, generally on pointers, and I know every trainer's different, how far generally would you think would be a normal range for a pointer to do their job?
Myself, I like 50 yards, 60 yards. You know, keep it in the gun.
Yeah.
I think it's really preference. Some people, they're fine with their dogs 100 plus,
Right.
or more. And I think it's preference. Myself, I prefer them a little bit closer.
Right.
I like watching them, and especially like when you see them make game in that. Boy,
Yeah. So I think that's my part too, is where I like to see my dogs out there a little bit, and be able to watch them do what they're supposed to do. Because if they're in too close, you know, you're tripping on them, and
Right. And it's not
a hunting turn, it's tripping on them because they're right in front of you. But I like to see that, you know, and then when you see them, you know, start to creep in on a bird a little bit and then lock solid, which we're going to show you today, folks, that this is what we're trying to do, to show you all about the breed of the German Shorthair Pointer. So we'll be back with more right after this.
use the wind, Joe. It's coming across.
Yeah, it's going to go that way. You see the bird? Wow. I'll make your dog a star.
Yeah, I got a 20 gauge Frankie.
He's got it. See, look at him.
Leave it. Here.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates. We just had a situation here that the last sequence that you saw, the dog was on point and it chased the bird out, and there was no shot. Jim, what is your rule for the no shot? Because sometimes pheasants fly low, or they just run.
Right. I like nothing lower than shoulder height, preferably like 6 foot, anything over your head. These guys, they can jump extremely high when they're excited, and that's where, you know, it helps to have a broke dog or a more broke dog.
Right.
They don't always work that way. You know, they get excited, they're dogs. But that's why I like nothing lower than shoulder height, and just for safety reasons.
Right. For me, I had the 8-foot rule.
Absolutely.
And PJ, you were our shooter on this one, and you were right there. We saw you draw your gun, but in your mind, it wasn't 6 foot or 8 foot.
Yeah, safety is always our number one priority. It's just not worth taking a shot and injuring the dog. The
Right.
angle that I had it really wasn't great. It really wasn't a safe
Right.
shot. So the pheasant landed not too far away. We can save that for another time. But yes, like I said,
Right.
safety's number one priority. And
There's always more burns.
Yes.
Right. All right, folks. So a little safety tip on this. So if you're out deciding on something like this and you're out with someone else's dog, always be considerate on the shot.
I'm Jim Savage, guide at Ariana Hunt Club, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
I'm Shannon Stover with Michigan United Conservation Clubs, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped with Chris Bates.
I'm going to let this bad boy go, but wow, look at that fish.
Oh my God, that's a
Wow.
The outdoor tip of the week is brought to you by Bennington Self-Storage.
Today we're out on the Rock River in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. We're going to do a little trolling for walleyes. We're going to troll today because the water's been high all summer and it finally came down where we can get out and fish, but the fish are kind of scattered. So we're going to do a little trolling. We're using real small plugs. This is a Walleye Nation Creation Boogie Shad. Since the river is so shallow, I use these line counter reels, and we're only going to let out 25 feet. So you just open the bail, clear your line counter, and then you just let out the line 25 feet. And once we get to 25 feet, we're going to hook on a planer board. And this doesn't take very long because it's a short span. So we already have 25 feet of line out. So then I'm just using these little small church planer boards, these TX12s. And we just hook those on. You put the line through this first clip, and then you put it through this back, and you just lift this up, and then it's on your line. And the reason we use these is when you put it in the water, it'll actually pull the line away from the boat so you can cover a wider area while you're fishing. So we're going to set these up, and we're going to try to get into some walleyes.
Erika Tanner. Stay tuned for more Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped after these messages. And welcome to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm Erika Tanner, filling in this afternoon for Chris, who is out doing other things at the moment. So what we're doing today is really cool. It's a show on Dutch oven cooking, which is probably nothing that you expect it to be. And I have with me Carl Kugler, who is an expert on this, and he's going to show us the various ways to cook with it, the different types of pots that are available, and all of that fun stuff. But before we get started, welcome to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
Thank you, Erika. It's
so
great being
excited to be here, and it's a top secret location, but we're in your backyard,
Yes,
which is
we are.
it's beautiful out here. So thank you for having us. My first question is, how did this all start?
It goes back over 20 years ago, and my roots in Dutch oven cooking came out of scouting, Boy Scouting. And I was fortunate enough to be a scout leader for my sons. My younger son, I became his den leader and cub master, and I would be out in the woods with these kids, and I needed to feed close to 50 kids desserts.
They get hungry.
They get hungry. So Scouting has a lot of people that are big into Dutch oven cooking. They got me going, and I just started making desserts. And some of my pots, you'll see the bigger pots. I started with the larger pots because I was cooking for big groups.
Right, right.
And we would, everything from desserts to making stews and everything. And then over the years, as my son got older, I got involved more from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, and it was smaller pots and smaller groups of people. And over the years, I began to help teach. I had taken classes myself, adult leader training, and I remember the first time I was on, it's a program called Takashin, Intro to Outdoor Leader Training, and a buddy of mine, Ed, is cooking pork tenderloin in a Dutch oven. I'm like, you can't cook meat in a Dutch oven. I cooked all these desserts, and just light bulb went off of how many other opportunities. And years later, I was helping teach that program, and I find myself now still teaching adult leaders at bigger events that the Boy Scout Council will do. And I found myself at outdoor sporting goods stores doing demos. And recently we've gone to Dutch oven gatherings where in a couple of those I've helped teach Dutch oven cooking.
I think that's so cool that there are so many people involved in this, that you're going to these places and you're having these conventions and showing other people. Now, when I think of Dutch oven cooking, I'm thinking of my little Dutch oven that I have at my house that I cook my meat and potatoes in the oven. This is all outdoors, and you have, what did you say, you had over 45?
I have over 40 Dutch ovens.
Oh, God.
I have issues.
I have issues. It started up friendly enough and easy enough, and now you're up to 45. Now, when you get a new pot, is there like seasoning that has to be done, like of any kind?
That's a great question. So there are two sources of buying Dutch ovens these days. One, you can buy a used Dutch oven. With any cast iron you buy, you want to be careful, because a lot of people may, especially smaller skillets and stuff, they may be using it to make their own gunshot, bullets and melting lead. So you always want to test them.
Yikes.
But you can carefully in an oven through the self-clean cycle, take it back to gunmetal gray and re-season it. The other thing to do is the main supplier in the United States, Lodge, where they're still manufactured in the United States, all their cast iron is coming pre-seasoned. So that entry level of having to know how to and go through the hassle of seasoning, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, nice.
It's coming pre-seasoned. So what you just need to do is work on making sure that you don't damage the seasoning and you care for it properly. So those days of having to season it yourself, you don't have to worry.
Right.
But there's plenty of information online and all, and it's relatively simple to do. But yeah, you don't need to worry about that any longer.
So you started off with desserts, which is my favorite thing, by the way. Is it known for desserts, or did you just decide, I don't want to cook meat, I want to start with desserts?
It was necessity. I had to cook for these kids. We were doing simple, big dishes for the large crowds, but we wanted to have something warm and sweet, at night in this cabin out, at the scout camp. So that's where it went from there. But it's anything that you can cook inside your house, whether it's on the stovetop, whether it's in the oven. You can cook in a Dutch oven. It just comes down to, where do you put the heat?
Right.
Do you put it on the top and the bottom to create an oven? Do you just do it on the bottom? Do you do it on a tripod over a fire? Do you do it on coals from a fire? But literally anything that you can cook outdoors or indoors, you can cook outdoors.
Okay. I'm thinking of myself, I'm like, I don't think about the heat on top or on the bottom. I'm throwing it in the oven, setting the timer like the recipe says, and waiting for it. So all that stuff that you have to be thinking of consciously as you're cooking outdoors and there's two ways. You could cook over the fire or over the charcoal, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, over charcoal, which a lot of people do. It's a great way to start because it's a lot easier to control heat that way. You think back, in New England, we have Old Sturbridge Village, living museum set in the 1830s. They called them bake kettles. And they used them on the hearth inside the house with wood coals. And that's how they did a lot of their baking. And it's just, here we are today with what we call a Dutch oven. Paul Revere was credited with creating the rim around that keeps the ash from going in and putting the
Paul
legs
go.
on. But we're dealing with a pot that's 300 years old.
That's
literally.
incredible. That's incredible.
And then more recently, 200 years with the legs and all.
Well, I am looking forward to going back there. You're going to do some preparation. We're going to show how it's cooked over the charcoal and over the fire. And then we even get to taste it, which is going to be, again, one of my favorite parts. We're going to do chicken, and what else are we doing?
We are going to do a cornbread dish with honey and a lot of butter in it. And then we're going to do an apple cake.
Perfect. So we're going to move over, and we're going to take a break right now, but stay tuned. Come back and join us. We'll be right back on Outdoor
Captain Shiloh Patterson, Heavy Metal Outfitters, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets.
Hey, welcome back. Boy, my time in southern Wisconsin just keeps getting better and better and better. And I have Bobby Gleason here, otherwise known as Bobby G. And this guy is kind of special, and we're going to hear all about why he's special. So, first off, tell me a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do for a living.
Well, at a young age, I was born and raised here in southern Wisconsin. Went to South Florida where I learned how to bartend.
Oh, see? Now we're getting there.
Yeah. So I went from South Florida to Las Vegas. Did a little time in Miami, back to Las Vegas, where I was very fortunate to be able to be on the opening team of the Mirage, Treasure Island, and Bellagio.
Oh!
So I've done some world-class resorts. And shortly after that, went out on my own and was hired as a beverage specialist, and then went on to gain my master mixologist status with the United States Bartenders Guild.
So when you say mixologist, people make fun of it, I'm sure, and they're like, you're just a bartender. What is a certified mixologist? What do you do?
The certification comes through the United States Bartenders Guild, and that's a lot of study on the histories, the laws, the cocktail histories. What I like to say, the histories, the stories, and the legends.
Okay.
Because we don't really know what all was truth and what was based on a hangover writing the next day.
Right.
So in today's world, the United States Bartenders Guild is coast to coast in the United States. We have over 60 chapters, and hopefully somewhere locally near you, one in every state.
Right.
And when we started to build that certification process, much like you've heard of a master sommelier.
Yeah.
That is run by the Guild of Master Sommeliers. So they set up that programming, and that's what we did with the United States Bartenders Guild. Did study, you go through a series of testings, and then after the final completion, you come in with your theory and you do a whole presentation, because it's much like, in the kitchen. When you look in the kitchen, you've got a sous chef, a chef, and a master chef.
Right.
And they all, at the end of the day, their role is to make food for people.
Right.
And the bar, you have a bar back, a bartender, then you have the mixologist and the master mixologist. And the bartender does everything.
Okay.
The mixologist is the guy that does everything, but also starts creating new cocktails and putting together menus.
Oh.
And in my opinion, the master mixologist does all of that, but our role now is more about teaching.
Wow.
And I'm very proud to say I'm one of 11 in America right now.
Wow, that is
Hope to have more.
That is fantastic. So let me ask you this question then. When do they think the first actual drink, a mixed drink, came into the public?
Well, you can see writings in Egypt, the hieroglyphs show them drinking something out of a clay vessel.
Okay.
And they usually would have a big straw because they would add things to whatever it was they were drinking to make it more palatable.
Oh, I see. So that's how that kind of got started.
So cocktails and drinks have been around forever.
Right. Who would ever thought that though, right? Mix a little this, mix a little that, add a little this, add a little that, and
it's much like cooking.
Right.
You want to have a balance of flavor, a balance of the sweet, a balance of the sour, a balance of the bitter.
So your expertise really is in, we were talking a little bit off air, is bourbon.
Yes, I was the master mixologist and senior portfolio ambassador for Jim Beam brands.
Okay.
Since 2000.
Wow.
And I've had the great fortune of drinking with Booker No, and I truly am honored and blessed to say that Fred and Freddie now are both dear friends of mine.
Wow. So Jim Beam, you think about Jim Beam. I think the common person though goes, let me get some Jim Beam, the little white label and just some, is that their better brands, or does Jim Beam have a better brand?
We have a lot of different brands. Jim Beam, the white label that you're talking about, is the name on our door, if you will, and then it is also the #1 selling bourbon whiskey in the world.
Wow.
And
see all the stuff I'm learning already. Who would have thought that?
And Booker No created what we call the small batch.
Okay.
And the small batch consists of Basil Hayden, Knob Creek, Bakers, and Bookers. And they're all different flavor profiles, different strengths.
This is a whole show, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a whole entire show. All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by to talk to me a little bit. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it.
It's great, and gosh, can you catch fish?
That was a lot of fun.
Right?
And as our people here in southern Wisconsin say, go pack, go.
All right, folks, we'll be back with more Outdoor Secrets right after that.
239.56, you can say she's got it all.
The bald eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom, is one of North America's most iconic birds. With its striking white head and tail contrasting against a dark brown body, the bald eagle is instantly recognizable. These magnificent birds primarily inhabit areas near large bodies of water like rivers, lakes, and coastal regions. Their diet mainly consists of fish, which they skillfully snatch from the water's surface using their sharp talons. Bald eagles are known for their impressive nests, which can be massive and reused and expanded year after year. During breeding season, bald eagles perform breathtaking aerial displays as part of their courtship rituals. Once the eggs hatch, both parents play an active role in raising their young, providing them with food and protection. The bald eagle holds special cultural significance, representing courage, freedom, and the spirit of America. In conclusion, the bald eagle is not just a magnificent bird, it's a symbol of resilience and the natural beauty of our world. Let us continue to cherish and protect these remarkable creatures for generations to come.
239.56, you can say she's got it all.
Hey everybody, Ray Tiffany with S2S Outdoors. You are watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
Basil. Fish.
Oh, look at that.
fish. Buddy, Chris Bates, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. It's kind of cold today out here. We're steelhead fishing with my good friend Shiloh Patterson and his good friend Tim Lemlin. I think that's how I say it, right? Close enough. Anyway, we're out steelhead fishing and we're having a freaking blast. We're in a tributary and we have one, and I want Shiloh to talk a little bit about what a steelhead is.
It's basically a rainbow trout that's gone to sea. Now here in the Great Lakes, they don't go to sea, they don't see salt. They still migrate out of the rivers.
Yeah.
And they go out to their sea, which is Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
And they live their lifespan for the year.
Yeah.
Come back in here and spawn. And they're back out.
Yeah.
And they're back out.
This is a nice fish, by the way. We catch little ones in the Walloomsac River back in Vermont. So, all right, folks, hang tight. We'll be back with more right after this. All right, Aislinn, go ahead.
Hold them back here.
And then just put them in the water. All right. Hey.
Nice release.
That was very good. Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped TV show is brought to you in part by Corker Boots, Fishing X Rod, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste, Hoffman Lures, Fish Donkey, the future of tournament fishing, Kaz Acres, Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, J. Robinson Outdoors, Bennington Self Storage, Okuma Fishing, let's get inspired, P-Line, White Rocks Design Studio at Turcotte Design, Porta-Brace, and a proud member of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce.
Meet you again. May God bless you. Adios. Wise men say only fools rush in. But I can't help falling in